Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets. Powered by BETSPERTS, we are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Andy Molitor. But as I mentioned, it's not just Friday, it's a fabulous football Fallica Friday here. We've got a bunch of college bowl games, some college football playoffs to talk about. But Andy, you know what I think the most important game of the week is, right?
Army Navy?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So what do we do there, Bear? Do we take unders? Do we just tease
I
both
think we might
teams?
be
I
too
would
late.
love to be like under, as to quote the great Gorilla Monsoon. It takes a lot of intestinal fortitude to bet an under 34 and a half, especially when if you look at the string of unders, not many of them would have gone under 34 and a half. So it's a super low total. There's supposed to be some rain here tomorrow, but at the same time, I would love to just sacrifice someone to be a bet on the over, and I just want to sit there with them. It would be a great like 3 hours of entertainment, maybe not even 3 hours, just to sit there with them, have a big bet on the over, just watch them just sweat and squirm and just get aggravated like two possessions a quarter as the clock just continues to burn and churn and just sitting them just begging for points. That would be kind of like a sadistic kind of a form of entertainment that I love. But if I had to play anything tomorrow, it would be Army. I think Army is the better team. I know Navy has played better as the year went on after a really slow start, and they kind of botched the AD got involved with the coaching. Still was a weird situation there. But I think Army is the better team, and I certainly trust them more. So I think it's down to seven in a couple of spots. If you can find a seven, I certainly would not be opposed to laying the seven here with the Black Knights of the Hudson.
I was gonna say, yeah, I actually reached out just on Twitter about this because like teasing a college, especially any college game, is a little sketchier than the
Hmm.
NFL. You have, the keyed numbers aren't quite as key. You have weird distributions of scoring. But I said, man, with a total this low, like, can I tease this 7.5 down to 1.5? And a lot of people were like, I don't hate that. So I might have thrown Army in a couple teasers. I'll
There
be
you go.
watching. I'll have some, some FCS on as well. And obviously, we're in the part of the season where there's 500 basketball games as well every Saturday. So I will be watching that as well. But the Army in what 12 days has another game, and they will be taking on Missouri. Where is this game? I
I
didn't
believe
even
this is the
figure this
Armed
out on my.
Forces Bowl, right? In Fort Worth, I think, is what it
Yes,
is.
yeah, that meant there we go. So they are. It looks like Dan has a different graphic up for me
Yeah,
here.
you screwed it up, Andy. You got to go by the
I
rundown.
did. I went to the Army game first. All right, we'll go Cotton Bowl first anyway. Then
Whatever.
Cincinnati, Bama, Georgia, Michigan in the big ones. We'll start with the big ones. That's fine. Did you have any hot takes on the what do we call these national semifinals? I guess.
Semifinal games. Yeah, neither is a game that I would want to bet right now. I think opening up at 13 and a half clearly shows that the odds makers have a great deal of respect for Cincinnati. So I would expect if you would like Alabama, get in now because I would think that number is going to hit 14 at some point. Um, but I think matchup wise, without John Mechie now, the Bearcats have a good secondary. Granted, they have only played one team that ranks in the top 40 in offensive efficiency. So while their defensive numbers are good, they really haven't faced an offense close to this all year long. But I think at 13 and a half, it's an interesting position the books have taken, almost like they're comfortable with Alabama money in this situation. Think that maybe the Tide are up 20, 21, 17 late, and maybe the back door is open. So if you like Cincinnati, I'd wait it out. If you like Alabama, I'd get in on it now. And in the other game, we were funny. We were playing guess the line on the game day set on Sunday during the selection show, and everyone kind of was guessing 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, and I said you're way too low. And it opened exactly what I thought it would open. It's 7.5, and I think that shows the books are also comfortable uh, having Michigan be a public underdog in this game because I would imagine the money's going to come in on Michigan. So again, if you like Michigan, you better get in on it now because I would suspect the line, if anything else, is going to move to 7. But if you like Georgia, I would wait it out because I don't think it's going to hit 8, other than at Circa where they actually opened up higher. They opened at 9. So I like the matchup here for Georgia, though. I think that they feel pretty good about their defensive line against what's a good Michigan offensive line and a good running game. I know they have torn apart Iowa and Ohio State the last couple of games, but this Georgia defense is really good against them. And so I suspect that Michigan is going to have to do a lot of play action, kind of break some tendencies in this game in order to crack that Georgia defense. It's funny. I was talking about this with Stanford Steve on the pod, so I'll pose the question to you. How many points do you think wins this game? If you could sign up for a point total right now as being one of these teams, if we score blank points, we will win. What do you think it might be?
27.
It's exactly what I said. It's
Yeah.
exactly what I said.
I was going to say 28. I was high.
So you're right there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's got to be like mid-20s, mid-high 20s.
And I feel like we're kind of a prisoner of the moment as far as like we thought this Georgia defense was, unbeatable for so long, and then we just saw that game, and it might just come back to, well, they're playing a Big Ten team now. It's just not the same as playing Bama. Despite I want to give Michigan credit, they had a hell of a season, and they obviously it's very much surprised me by making it into the playoffs. So, and the beauty of this, like Bear said, we've got 3 weeks. So these markets, you've got time to get in early if you don't mind tying up some credit or some if you have to post up. But you got 3 weeks to attack these. So kind of watch the markets, pay attention to the news. That's kind of the theme as we enter bowl season. Pay attention to the news. All right, now on to the Armed Forces Bowl.
But me, I'm glad you said that because what bowl season has kind of become is try and anticipate and guess who's going to opt out. Try and get ahead of a number, try and get information, or just simply guess based on where you think a guy may be going in the draft. Because at the very least, you'll get ahead of it. You'll get a better. Now, I know a lot of people that on early Monday morning were taking Michigan State +3 because they anticipated Kenny Pickett not playing, and then sure enough, he goes on a radio show and says, "Yeah, I'm not too sure," and that game moved to pick. So now, at the very least, you've got Michigan State +3 in a game where they're probably going to close the favorite. And the other option would be maybe you open yourself up to a nice 6 or a 7 point middle with a lot of these games as well. So that is unfortunately how these bowls go. And like my favorite strategy in bowl games, 2 of them are either A, just taking underdogs in the money line to win to a certain point. It's proven profitable over, I believe, at the last 6 years or so. I have a grid that I have to update on that. So that's one thing. And then number 2 is just live betting. We all try and play amateur psychologists here. Which team is motivated? Which team isn't? Why not just wait out a drive or 2 and see? A lot of these times you'll know a couple of drives in. And one of the best example of that was the Armed Forces Bowl a couple of years ago that Army was in against Houston, where you kind of had a feeling before the game that Houston was checked out, but the first couple of drives absolutely cemented it. And I'm not sure they're in a similar type of situation this year with the Missouri defense that can't stop anybody on the ground. You're gonna be down there in the Dallas area in mid to late December against an Army team that regardless of whether they win or lose tomorrow, they will be motivated to play. Every year, Army is motivated to play in a bowl game when they get an opportunity, especially now against an SEC team. I would think that Army number I think it's -3.5 or so. That's one of the few bowl games right now that I have a really strong opinion on. So I feel pretty good about laying the points there with Army.
Yeah, nothing like getting cut block for 2 hours right before you head home for Christmas. Like you're playing a football game. All these teams are playing football games, but like you said, these are supposed to be fun trips too that you get to take. Like, man, I wouldn't want to play an Armed Forces team in a bowl game. Like that's playing a triple option team or any sort of gimmicky thing, especially when you're in a conference that doesn't do that sort of thing, or you haven't played any of those teams for a while. It's something to look at for sure. yeah, Army. Interesting that we've been just heavy Army so far today. In the oh man, am I not going to be even saying this word right? Camellia? Are we going Camellia? Camilla?
Camellia Bowl. Yes.
Camellia Bowl. The MAC taking on Georgia State. Are we in the Sun Belt? I'm not 1,000%
Yes.
sure on where they
Yes.
fit.
Georgia
Yeah,
State is Sun Belt.
Sun Belt on Christmas Day
Fun
in the
Belt.
afternoon as you're sitting there with your new presents. This is nice. You get to take in some action on a day you're not working. Just like a nice little Christmas break game. Georgia State favored by 4.5, total 50. Is this something you've gotten involved in?
Yeah, it was again. This was on earlier in the week. I just sent out a couple little stream of consciousness thoughts on some of these matchups, and this was one again that I had a pretty uh, actionable feel on. I think Georgia State is a team that finished up the season really strong, nearly beat Louisiana, which went on to win the conference title. And I'm not sure that this is a Ball State team that isn't as good as last year's team. And I think you're kind of looking at a situation here where I think a lot of amateur handicappers and just fans in general will look and see, oh, Ball State beat Army, Georgia State got blown out by Army, Georgia State was favoring the game. Ball State was an underdog in the game, and oh, of course, Ball State's going to beat Georgia State. But I'd be careful here. This number actually moved from what I got it at 3.5 to 4.5 now, so there has been some action on Georgia State. But I do think that Georgia State offense will probably be too much for Ball State, which won the MAC last year, by the way, with one of the better defenses in the league. Not the same team this year, so I'd feel good still laying up to 4.5 with Georgia State.
And like you said earlier too, some of these smaller conference, and even the MAC isn't that small of a conference. Neither is Sun Belt really, but some of these teams that aren't premier high level Power 5 teams, it is a little more of a straight handicap where you don't have to say because there's a chance, yeah, anyone who got Michigan State, if this keeps drifting out, you might want to take some Pitt +3 before. I mean, is Walker, is that a thing? Is he already opted? Is he going to? There's chances that we can see it. You see one player opt out and the line move hard one way, and then a star player from the other team opts out and it moves back. You could end up sitting on like you said, a 6 or 7 point middle on some of these if you end up timing things right. The Sun Bowl.
Tennessee is going to be the other interesting game to see where that closes at, because that's already had a big move because the game is in Knoxville or in Nashville, and there are a bunch of rumors about Karlaftis and Bell not playing. So I think that line has already moved around 4 points. But if it comes out that Bell and Karlaftis aren't playing, I think Jeff Brom already kind of hinted it, said it without saying it. That line could probably go to 6.5 or 7 or maybe even 7.5. So even though you haven't gotten the best of that Tennessee number, you still might be in a position where it hasn't moved far enough yet where you're still going to get a better number than what it's going to close at.
Yeah. No, and again, just keep your ear to the ground, hit the group chats, keep abreast to the news, and be ready to fire right away on these. Miami.
Next one we got like a long travel, short travel. I always like these. Wazoo coming east, Miami, I guess going north. I mean, it is still in Florida, but I was just looking. It's like a 6-hour drive. Ugh.
El Paso has not been a place where Miami has done well. It's funny now. This is the third time they're going to the Sun Bowl. Previous two they've lost, and the previous two they've all had an interim head coach because they've been in the midst of a coaching change. And you look at what's been going on at Miami. Like how is this team going to be prepared for a bowl game? I mean, I know they've announced an interim head coach, but what assistants are there? It just doesn't seem like a good spot. And they're favored by 2.5 over a Wazoo team that finished up the year super strong. They played for the interim head coach that was there with them and didn't quit on the team. They got him hired. I think Wazoo at +2.5 here is a side that I'd want to be on. And again, I would just play them on the money line as well. I'd probably play the same amount on the money line, if not more, as I would on the +2.5, because I don't know if it's a great matchup for Miami either with Wazoo and that interesting passing offense that they're going to bring to the table.
Yeah, and like you said, the money line not a bad look, especially when a total is pert near 60. that 2.5 doesn't have quite as much
No.
value with
Yeah.
there's, like I often will just take the straight up money line and then cry into my beer when it ends up losing by one or something like that. But yeah, not a great spot. And real quick, I mean, what do you think of the head coaching transition down there in Miami?
Well, I mean, it was certainly did not go cleanly, I should say, but very few times they do. It's business, and it can get ugly for as botched as it appeared on the surface, and how it was looking like a rudderless ship for a while. They they hit a home run at AD. Dan Radakovich is one of the most respected guys in the profession, so they got the AD hire 100% right, and I think that's the most important thing because now you've got the administrative bridge between the president and the football staff, and while people will talk about Mario Cristobal and maybe he's not the best in-game coach, he is an unbelievable recruiter. I'm sure he's going to do a good job hiring assistants. And it's kind of like in life when like it's the right person at the right moment at the right time. Mario Cristobal feels like the right person at the right moment at the right time for Miami. He's as passionate about the Hurricanes and his playing time there as anybody that I've heard who used to play for Miami. So I like the hire. I think it's going to work out. I hope it does. But one thing we know is he will keep a lot of those South Florida kids home, and I think you're going to get a lot more alignment and spending and all the things that big time programs like Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State do. Everyone's on the same page, and I think Miami now is approaching that.
And it's good for
Yeah,
college
Andy.
football when good programs are good.
Yeah.
Like it's dumb to say. I don't know why, or it's just fun. And Miami was always good for me growing up. So I always feel like, and maybe Nebraska will just never be good. Like I don't know if that's a spot where you can recruit anymore. And just I mean we could do an hour podcast about
Yes.
all the things they did back in the day. I don't think they're gonna get away with some of the stuff they were able to do to win
No.
back then.
No.
Not to say
Yeah.
Miami. I mean, there's been some shows about Miami. I mean, those are
Yes, there
pretty
have.
good 30 for
Yes, there have.
30s.
Yeah, the Nebraska Prop 48 days recruiting in Southern California and in the old Big 8 days. Yeah, once they got to the Big 12, things changed. They made an interesting hire too with Mark Whipple there,
Yeah.
going as offensive coordinator. We'll see what quarterback they go after in the transfer portal because I'm sure they're going to need one in Nebraska. It's funny I can already sit here thinking about next year, and Nebraska's going to be one of those teams that kind of like this year, everybody was kind of on, and they just continued to figure out a way to lose games. So we'll see next year if they can figure out a way to win some of those games.
Now, Bear, I don't know why I remember Arkansas playing Penn State when I was younger. Apparently, it didn't happen because they've got their first ever meeting here in the Outback Bowl. I guess I got Arkansas confused with Auburn or something here, but Nittany Lions, short favorites here, laying just 2 points against Arkansas. The Outback Bowl, it's a solid bowl game, but a little bit of a disappointing season for the Nittany Lions. How do you think they finish it out?
Yeah, didn't it feel like Arkansas Penn State would have been an Orange Bowl or something maybe back in the
I
day?
thought it was an
sounded
Outback
like
Bowl.
like one of
I
those.
remember watching an Outback Bowl, Penn State and Arkansas. It must have been Auburn or somebody. I don't know.
But like I don't know like why you'd want to lay points here with Penn State. You lose your defensive coordinator. I know the weather was an issue in East Lansing a couple of weeks back, but that was a terrible performance that they had against a team that was missing so many guys who were out with the flu. I just look again. This is more of again. I hate to say play amateur psychologist here, but I think the direction of the way the Arkansas season finished and the direction the Penn State season finished, I would be on Arkansas here. I think Sam Pittman and that running game and that defensive front is very good. I think Jefferson's going to give Penn State some problems. Again, we're going to have to see who winds up playing and who winds up not playing. But based on how Penn State finished the year offensively against Michigan, I know I know they had guys sick against Rutgers, but then against Michigan State, I don't know if I want to back Penn State here.
I tend to agree, as much as a bummer as that is.
I know I don't know how we always managed to do this. Fallica got to talk about his team. You got to talk about your team. We didn't even do. I mean, we did some Miami. We did some Penn State.
You guys made a bowl game.
We didn't. Yeah, we didn't do any. We'll close with
Guaranteed
Minnesota.
rate.
the guaranteed rate bowl does not sound like a high end bowl. It's probably like what, the 6th tier Big Ten bowl, and that's kind of where you end up when you're like third or second or third in the West. But guaranteed rate bowls in Phoenix, at least these Minnesota kids, we're about to get a foot of snow tonight. Like hopefully these kids just they booked it and they're in Phoenix already practicing. Like they'll be happy to get out of here for the holidays. But yeah, that's not till the 28th, and I really haven't dug into this yet. We're
It's
getting
West Virginia
another
they have,
year.
right?
Yep, Gophers -4.
West Virginia Gophers -4, low total only 45, and Tanner Morgan for one more year after this.
Yeah, I was going to say that before you even said what the total was, I was going to say it feels like a lower scoring type game. Especially with the Minnesota offense certainly hasn't been prolific this year. Obviously, they had all of the injuries and problems on offense that kind of helped that, but their defense played hard, and especially getting the axe was a big deal. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a pretty low scoring competitive game. I'm interested in watching that game. Two teams that are going to want it.
Yeah, they all seem to. They have a good enough coach to get them motivated for a game like this. And it's not like they achieved the axe was huge, but yeah, when you have a season where you felt like you could have achieved a little more, it does feel like there'll be some motivation in the bowl game. I'll watch that. 28th. It sounds like a Monday though. That might be like
28th, I think, is a Tuesday.
Oh,
That's the day I'm traveling to Miami for the Orange Bowl.
We got a Tuesday afternoon bowl game. That's how good the team was this year. So, well, I'll watch it anyway. That's cool. That's pretty much my life for the next month. So, all right. Well, we appreciate your time. Appreciate you stopping in. Nice to have a little bit of a break from just nonstop football every weekend. But of course, Army Navy tomorrow, a little bit of FCS, and then the real fun starts in about a week. Do we have? Is the 17th the first bowl game?
Yes, Saturday the 17th. I'll be sitting. I'll be sitting. Well, it was funny. I was trying to think about it. Like, do I want to? That's what I was talking about with Steve as well. I'm like, do I want to try one of those inter Caribbean island flights? And even though Turks and Caicos technically isn't a Caribbean island, but like maybe go from Turks and Caicos to catch the Bahamas Bowl, and then I heard the game match up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna pass on that. They're on the beach all day.
You don't want to see Toledo, Middle Tennessee State?
Man.
No, I'm gonna punt on that. Even though if it's as wild as it was a couple of years ago, where they had that wind and like you could only like move the ball in one direction.
Though some of the Bahamas Bowls are always fun. And again, Turks. I don't know if you've ever been. Maybe you have. Oh God, that
multiple times.
Easily my favorite Caribbean, or if it's not Caribbean, I guess I'm misspeaking apparently, but easily my favorite island down in I've ever been to. The water's so great and everything was awesome. I'd go there again for sure. I hope you have a great
Grace Bay is awesome. Thank you. I will certainly try.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll let you go. Like you said, Bear is on vacation next week. We'll check back with him in 2 weeks. We'll touch on some more bowl game action. Maybe we'll know a little more about some of these bowl games. We'll probably have 2 weeks worth of information to catch up with on opt-outs and stuff. So wish you the best of luck on any bets you make this weekend. Have fun on vacation. We'll catch you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll talk again soon. Have a great weekend, guys.
See you, Bear. Hope he stays out of the sun. But a lot of suntan lotion for him.
It's hot down there.
We'll have to send him some.
It's very nice down there, though. God, the water's so pretty. I need to get out. I'm just staring down this winter storm watch.
So I feel like I've lost you now. Do you want me to do the college hoops bets while you start booking vacations?
Yeah, I need to get out of here. I might just go to Vegas. Either way, I won't talk too long about these just because we ran kind of long, which is fine. I enjoyed talking about all that college football. I already put these in the BETSPERTS app. I'm not going to explain much of any of them because I model things. I am not using anything subjective, hardly. Most of this is my numbers, and then I go do a little bit of due diligence just to make sure. I mean, last year was like, does this team have 9 players out for COVID? Did this team have some weird thing where they haven't played in a month? Does this team have, multiple coaches missing? And there's a lot of things that can, I don't ever believe one player or even 2 can affect the line that much in college basketball, or it shouldn't, especially at this level. So a little due diligence, but 90% of these bets are just, hey, my spreadsheet said so, which is boring for media, but this is how I bet college basketball. So real quick, IUPUI under 126.5, Cal State University at Northridge plus 13. It was 10 last night, and I looked at it, couldn't quite do it. it just kept steaming. I ended up betting this at 13. I'm fine with that number. I'm maybe there's a group on the other side, maybe just some heavy North Dakota State money, but once it got out to 13, I took this. Memphis and Murray State over 142. I have that closer to 150. And App State, the fighting Mountaineers ish. Yeah, they're Mountaineers, something like that. App State plus 7.5. Two sides, two totals. Anybody who does like to bet my college basketball or see what I'm on at least to make sure, you're not betting against me, or maybe you want to bet against me, fuck, fade me. I don't care. If you are, I will have some Saturday plays out tonight as I am sitting there in the storm. I'll probably put it out in waves on the app, or I'll put some overnights out on some of the micro majors. And then in the morning, I'll put out a bunch for the day and probably leave the evening stuff for afternoon. So I'm thinking 3 waves of picks. I'm probably playing 30 goddamn games tomorrow. I ain't scared.
I want to keep track of that. We need to see what your biggest day of plays are, because you had one that was like 25. I think you'll get to the 30s. Can you see yourself touching 40 plays in a day?
It would be a Saturday. It would have to be a Saturday for sure. So, all right, Angers.
Fire up some reload bonuses.
Angers rolls on, and
Indeed.
A lot of plus. I don't think you've laid a cent of juice in this tournament yet.
No reason to. I mean, a couple big underdogs. We'll go back to bat with Fallica and Seva. Hopefully, you guys got that in as the show started yesterday. She won pretty comfortably. Again, a really solid Russian player that has had just kind of a tough season, starting to find some of her form here late. She's plus 150 today, and I'm happy to go back to bat here. I mean, she's playing against Clara Burrell. We bet against Burrell yesterday. We had Shinikova plus 250. Shinikova got a set for us, but couldn't close it out in 3. Again, at plus 250, I'll bet that every single time. Happy to go back again against Burrell here. So, Vike playing well. Happy to continue fading Burrell. All sounds good to me at plus 150 at a match that I basically have in a pick 'em. And then Mladenovic Zhang here. Thought about maybe going over 20.5 games, but these two generally play quick sets. I think if there's any chance this goes over, we're looking at a 3-setter. So over 2.5 sets, plus 160. I'd play this down to plus 150. Again, Kiki, Mladenovic, and Shuai Zhang. All these matches are this afternoon. Fallica will be the first one to start. It's the second match. There's a match that hasn't started yet. It'll be on after that. So you probably have about an hour, maybe hour and a half or so to get that bet in. And then Mladenovic Zhang bet. Looks like that'll probably start around 1:30, maybe a little bit later. Looks like they're running behind in France today. So you got some time to get Vike and the over in. But yeah, get Vike in first.
Oh, basketball. Let's close it out. Friday Super Show. Football, college, tennis, and a couple NBA picks to close her out for the week.
Odd looking balls, fuzzy balls, and now orange balls, everybody. We got all your balls covered. Cavaliers, a really nice spot for them. Again, make sure you follow both of us on the BETSPERTS app. Was actually able to get this at even money. It's starting to drift out. I'm seeing 115s places. They are visiting the Minnesota Timberwolves. I played this actually at minus 120 or better. I have them as like a 3-4 point favorite in this game. Evan Mobley is tremendous. Jarrett Allen is tremendous. And the NBA is, honestly, it's a lot like betting at this point. You have to find little niches and little ways to be better than kind of what everybody else is doing. And one of the advantages you can have in the NBA now, there's very few teams with one rim protector, let alone 2. To be able to put Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley on the floor at the same time is an incredible advantage for this Cavaliers team. They visit your Wood Dogs tonight. Don't watch it, Andy. It should be an ugly game. The Cavaliers, I have them winning again, like by 3-4 points here. So minus 110 sounds good. Would play that out to minus 120. And then the Rockets team total under 108.5. I know the Rockets just keep winning basketball games and scoring points, but I think the end is nigh. You've got a Milwaukee Bucks team that frankly got embarrassed in Miami the other night. I think they're really going to take care of business against this Rockets team. I thought about laying the big number, but as I go back and look at a lot of these bounce back spots, the Milwaukee Bucks defense really takes a big step forward. And I have the Rockets here at about 105 points. So I think this is a great spot to start fading the Rockets, start selling them. And I'm going to do that with a team total under 108.5. Again, feel free to bet the big number with the Bucks, -9. Sure, that might be okay, but I think that the team total under here is a great look. The Bucks are going to lock all windows and doors tonight, as Mark Zumoff would say.
Oh, look at poor Patrick in the chat. He got here a half hour late. Oh, buddy, I'm sorry. Yeah, we had to do it a little early today. Fallica had a meeting at the same time as the show, so we accommodated his meeting. by going a little early. Follow at Brown Bag Bets on Twitter. That will be the place that we tweet that out from if we ever have to do this. We don't usually, but once in a while we will have to do it at a different time. We'll try to keep it around the same time. You can always rewatch these on YouTube at the BETSPERTS Media channel. You can listen to these on any podcast. You can anywhere you find podcasts. So if you are in the YouTube chat, even if you came a half hour late, like Patrick, hit the thumbs up anyway. Enjoy your weekend. Have some fun. Win some bets. Drink some beers. Kiss some ladies. I don't know. Get weird with it. Go out. Have a
weekend.
ball. It's Friday night. We'll see you then.